Anywhere poverty reigned, it was protected. Anywhere lack reigned, it was protected. If it is not protected, it will never reign. Anywhere people died, it was protected. Death was protected. Death was protected by those that died. Instead of exposing death, misery, to fire, they shielded it. Now, when they shielded it, it hurt them. Now, how did they shield it? People shield evil, shield poverty by allowing the mentality of poverty to reign over them. Isaiah 9, 1 and 2. They allow the mentality. Poverty has its mentality. Please listen. Please listen to me. Your leg doesn't take permission to obey your mind. Your leg doesn't take permission from you to obey your mind. Your tongue doesn't take permission from you to speak out what is in the heart. Let me say it again. I said your leg doesn't take permission from you to go to where your mind is. There's no meeting between the mind and the leg. The leg naturally obeys the mind. You don't pray for the leg to obey the mind. So if the mind is sanctified, the leg will go to the right place naturally. Now, so is the tongue. You don't pray to the tongue to speak what to the heart. The tongue says what is in the heart immediately. It's just there's a connection. There's a connection between the tongue to the heart that make the tongue speak out. Now, if there is darkness in the mind, the body will behave it. The body. Listen, there is no discipline that subdue darkness. There is no discipline against darkness. You impart the mind and darkness will go. Now, if you look at Isaiah chapter 9, 1 and 2, I want to show you something about the people of Naphtali and Zebulun. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the dimness shall not be such as was in her vexation.
He said, the dimness shall not be as was in her vexation.
When at first it lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun
and the land of Naphtali.
And afterward it more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan and Galilee of the nation.
Now, when you hear afflict, listen, afflict does not mean that God brought something from outside. No. The easiest way to interpret this is that the mental state attracted the problem. Attracted the problem. He said they were afflicted because their mental state is dark. So there was a connection. There was a connection there. So the first thing God do, now, before I go to 6, if you look at 2, he said, and people that walk in darkness. Now that is change. That is a break from the past. That is there was darkness and then we force light. Now, and those that dwell in the shadow of death, upon them light.
Shine.
Now, that is God saying that situation can change. Destiny can change when you change approach to life. I said destiny can be altered when we alter our approach to life. Listen, altering approach to life is not a function of decision. It's a function of learning. Don't say I have decided, because your decision will fail you if you don't have light. Don't say I have resolved. Don't worry about resolving. Whatever you're resolving will fail you. Get light first, and then your inner man will have energy to do what you want. Keep on getting enlightened. That is why you invite people to church, you tell them to come and make notes, you buy book and give them, you tell them to listen to CD, you give them time. If you are imparting them and they are losing it, you wait. Faith comes by hearing. Somebody might smoke. Allow him to finish smoking and hear the gospel. Don't force him to drop cigarette. Transformation does not come from change of character as per decision, abstinence. It comes from the healing of the inner man. When the inner man is healed, the outward man will obey God. But don't forget that this is take time. The transformation of the inner man takes a lot of time. I don't know what I'm saying anything. Listen, money has economic value. What I say? Light has economic value, not money. Light has. Listen, if you look up here, I will give you a gift. There is one of the easiest way to devalue something and reduce it is to put it in the hand of a dark man. Let me say it again. I say one of the ways to devalue something that is important to you is to put it in the hand of an ignorant dark man. If it's money, the money will finish. If it's health, the health will have problem. Whatever that have honor will die in the hand of dark people. One of the ways to destroy a family is to allow people to dwell in darkness. I don't know what I'm saying something. Darkness is a destroyer of both light and all rich values. So poverty have to be shielded by darkness to remain. Let me say it again. I said darkness, poverty have to be shielded by it has to be shielded. It has to be shielded. If it's not shielded, it can't remain. And then when it is shielded, it affects the thought. It affects the mindset, the mentality, the way of looking at things. The way people look at things. Today they said that the number of people number of officials that have died in Ukraine and Russia is 150,000 on both sides. That means 300,000 soldiers have died in that battle, and the battle is on. $300,000 young men have been massacred, and the battle is on. Now, these 300 young men, up to 90% of them are not up to 30 years. They are not up to 30 years. That means that their parents and their new children are either in Russia and Ukraine, in pain. Their parents and their new wives, and their young children some of them might have one, some will have two. So what it means that probably the land of Ukraine and Russia has produced 300,000 widows. Now, why that battle is going on is because of the mentality of supremacy. That thing you see will never happen in Africa. African women can't bear it. So the destiny of people is in their light. Zelensky was saying this morning, he said that Russia started the battle and it is Ukrainians that will end it. That the battle will favor them. They are fighting. And then Joe Biden went to Ukraine and said that Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia. That means they want the war on. They want more young men to die. Listen, you cannot bury 150,000 people. There's no place to bury them. So some of them are inside the bush there. They got rotten. How can you bury 150,000 people? Who is burying them? Some of these young men are engineers, some are medical doctors. Some read one thing or the other, and they gave them gun. Even like conscript, Russia have accepted to go and arrest young men who are not soldiers. Give them gun, they will just be destroying them. Russia is not developed, so is Ukraine. If you watch that war, there is marshland everywhere. So what prevent Russia from stopping the war and use the energy to develop their land? To make the country better. Now, wherever there is poverty, wherever there is evil, that evil was protected. It was shielded. Shielding evil means you love it. You're saying you don't like it, you're a liar. You love it. Some people, that's why they are shielding it. Some people say they don't want to suffer, but they produce character that supports suffering. That support suffering. Some people are poor, and it is through character that they support poverty. They pray against poverty and produce character that support it. The character that supports poverty is more important, is more dangerous than the prayer. The character will cancel out the prayer. So wherever there is evil, it is because that evil was shielded. So it rained. It rained. Evil will not reign in our lives. Now I would like you to listen. When you see somebody that is suffering and you have ability to see, you will see it in the character. I was telling somebody not quite long ago. I said some young girls say like marriage. They like the word marriage and they know they don't want to live with a man. They love the word. They love the word marriage. But they don't want to live with a man. If you marry, you will live with a man. That is called marriage. Living with a man. So some people like the word I am married, but they don't have what to live with a man. Maybe you're not getting it. Did you get it? When you get married, we live. Now, you live with somebody who is not perfect. Not only with him, with his family members. With his mother, his brothers are the people you will live with because you are married. Healing of the inner man. healing of the inner man. Why a lot of healing in the church are not sustained is because that healing didn't start from the inner man. And there is no sickness that doesn't have root in the inner man. Every sickness that came on people's body have root on the inner man. Now, if there should be healing, the healing should go to the inner man, where the sickness originated from. Now, when you pour oil and say, I command you, and the sickness fade out from the body, the sickness will come back from the inner man, where the sickness originated from. So, it's all evils. Every evil that we attack through prayer, try to survive from the source. Try to from the source. So try to attack a problem outwardly. It's not as important as attacking it inwardly. Let me help you. Let me help you with something. In the book of John chapter 6, before Jesus multiplied bread and fishes to feed 5,000 people, don't forget, he has stayed with them for 3 days and 3 nights, trying to transform them. Now, that transformation is far more important than the miracle. The first transformation, the first miracle, is the healing of the inner man. I said the first miracle, Isaiah chapter 6, verse number 8. Now, why I'm preaching is because I want your inner man to be healed. The man on the inside, the you in you. The book of Isaiah chapter, he said, and I heard the voice of the Lord say, he said, who shall I send, and who will go for us? Then I said, here am I, send me. Go ahead.